Oh,
Really?
check it, check it.
Ooh, we're recording.
Are we recording? Hello, hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com. And today I'm here with Sidereal astrologer Krasi Attasio, who will lead us through the month of September. Check it, check it. Oh. Where eclipse season begins. The first eclipse is on September 17th. And Krasi will tell us a little bit about what is from a sidereal perspective, the actual constellations, what's happening globally, and then she will go into the 12 signs, mentioning tropical and sidereal signs. If you know your Western sign, you don't have to look for your sidereal one. If you know your sidereal, she'll mention it. And before we start, Krasi is offering a 12-month reading ahead with focus on the 12 on each of the 12 months ahead, but plus the eclipses. She's offering a nice discount for anyone for the next 2 weeks. I'm putting a link below in the description if you want a personal reading with Krasi. Hello, Krasi.
Hello, Ada. Hello, everyone. Yes, September seems to be very special, very interesting, not only because of the eclipse also, of course, part of 4 or 5 eclipses. We are a little bit discussing this with Wada, whether we have 4 eclipses in 2024 or 5. I think the one on the 17th of October is minor, therefore you don't see it in every.
Partial.
Uh,
Yeah.
yes, I think so. Um, so eclipses we have on the sidereal axis of Pisces Virgo. Eclipses we have there because the lunar nodes now are Ketu, the tail of the dragon, is in Virgo, and Rahu, the head of the dragon, is in Pisces. Not only about the eclipses we will talk, Wada. I mentioned to you what I find to be the most important event. Why most important? Yes, the eclipses too, because they include the axis of the sign of Pisces, and we still live in the year of Pisces, so everything which is happening in Pisces concerns each one of us without any doubt. But similar is the situation with Uranus, who rules Aquarius, because we are at the doorstep, at the gate.
Aren't Aquarius and Pisces constellations, they're 5 degrees on top of each other. So we're still in Pisces, but we're also in Aquarius because they're not like, if you look in the sky, you see the Aquarian water and the fish of the Pisces, they kind of meet, overstep each other. So we're in
Very
both.
good explanation. No, this is very exactly. This is so. So both are equally important. Therefore, the fact that now Uranus is stationary and on 6th of September he is retrograding for 5 months until 6th of February is also important. Very important. And I will tell you how I see his influence. But not only this, we have so many events. First of all, just recently, end of August, we had the square between Jupiter and Saturn, which square is part of the cycle which they started. I think it was 21st of December of 2020 when they made the conjunction, and from there the cycle started. And now we are in the second stage of the cycle, which is the square between them. Then we have the third, which is the trine and the opposition. So until this is many, many years a long cycle, but it's very important. So this cycle started end of August, the cycle which is about Jupiter Saturn square. And I will remind to you, to people who listen to us, in when the two of them met in the beginning of 2020, I don't even need to remind you what happened then. Just total change in the system. This is in the system. It started with disease, but continued with war. And so this is system change. So now they're squaring each other. Both of them are so important and so much related to finances. And we saw how they afflicted the markets. This is
In
exactly as
August.
there is.
You said even the title of your last video, that interview we did, was financial instability. but you say there will be some instability, but you don't see it going. And the markets crashed for a few days. They really crashed down in August. And then we saw this big clash happening in England, and it's yeah, a lot of
As a result, you see the gold and the silver. Yeah. So indeed, markets, this continues, of course. Also, how the eclipses will trigger that globally, because we live in the era of Pisces, and like you said, Uranus and Pisces, not Uranus, but Aquarius and Pisces are really connected so much. We're just between the two. One is ending, the other one is starting. So both are very important. Also,
so you think it will be on a financially for the whole world is dangerous period in September?
financially, I think so. It is just the start, but
Mhm.
also the start was already. I mean, the start was in 2020, and they are furthering the change of the global system. Because if we
Yeah.
lived in capitalistic society, now this is post-capitalistic society as a result of Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, and not only many other events took place, but this is the one that is very evident. Jupiter-Saturn. So they had this square. Then the retrograde motion of Uranus is very important. Let me tell you what I think, and here I will involve the esoteric, the occult knowledge of the master being Sadunu again, because Uranus is about, the um, the God's mind. This is God's wisdom, and
Find wisdom. Yeah.
yes, divine wisdom, and this is the higher octave, the higher vibration of Mercury. So very important indeed is how we perceive this retrograde motion of Uranus, because he is about the drive which we have. And in one lecture, mm, the students of the astrology students of Bein Sadunu, there are not many, there are 5, 6 people, and one of them was having in his horoscope retrograde Uranus, and the analysis of the master was that because of this retrograde Uranus, all his actions, activities were somehow disturbed, because Uranus is about the action. He's always revolutionary. He's always the new, the innovation. And when he's retrograde, this innovative essence is gone. He will be more, this action is lacking. So, in order to reach success in all your plans, deeds, we really need to operate with the um, objective mind. And this was the case in the horoscope of the master being Sadunu. He was born with retrograde Uranus. Therefore, he was operating, this is what the people who knew him explained, he was operating with his objective mind.
With his
Because
what?
objective mind,
Mhm.
because Uranus in his horoscope was retrograde. So intuition, to apply intuition, to be, because Uranus, when retrograde, he is disturbing the action, because he is himself action, he is himself the change. This, of course, can be good, because as we know, the low manifestation of the energy of Uranus is destruction of the traditional family, destruction of traditional family values, artificial intelligence in places where we don't want it, like replacing the human labor, for example, the human work. So when
Yeah,
he's
like
retro,
the positive side of Uranus is innovation and progress, but the negative is perversion, going to such an extent
ah,
that you become unnatural. Unnatural. That's the danger of Uranus.
exactly. And now when he's retrograde, I believe this is a chance for more traditional look at family values. Um, Even this will slow down the change, which we don't necessarily, approve. So in a sense, this could be good, but we have to be very careful how we apply this energy to our lives, because if we're not careful, this can disturb the progress in our own lives, in our own deeds. Let's say we will see when we look at the 12th ascendant, but just imagine you have Uranus retrograde in your 10th house, and you're hoping for good development in your career, for example. This can slow down things. And if you are not careful, this can disturb the progress. But you can use it for, let's say, revisiting the work you do, the administration, the project, revisiting the communication with superiors. So just an example that you can really apply this energy properly. And if you're not prepared, you can be all these houses, life areas where Uranus will be in your horoscope and where he will be retrograde, he can disturb it. Imagine seventh house, relationships, marriage. Instead of him disturbing your harmony, you can go back, remember more harmonious times. For example, slow down, become more traditional instead of running into the new age and so. How you apply these energies to your life, really, it's a matter of choice, indeed. The other good thing, Wada, is the fact that just very soon Mercury becomes visible in Cancer, Sidereal Cancer, and this will be until quite some time, until I think until 18th of 20 September. He will be visible. He becomes invisible again in Leo, but first he's visible in Cancer. I think this is fine, especially people who, let's say, are ruled by Mercury, who have very powerful Mercury, who have visible Mercury or exalted or on ascendant, who have Mercury as Almuten, will benefit from this very well for studies, teaching, especially spiritual studies, because he's in Cancer. Being in Cancer, I think he will be he will explain or like give sense to things related to intuition, healing, empathy. So this is not such a big deal. It comes on a second place after the other important events. Everything actually slowed down on the sky. Saturn is retro, Pluto is retro now. Jupiter now, excuse me, Uranus becomes retro. Maybe this is not so bad, because I just complained to you when we started. I said, "What's going on? We are already in September. They are manipulating the time."
Just so quickly the years passed. So now
Yeah,
it's
so
going down.
I believe this is a slowdown which we need. Honestly, 24 hours are not enough for me to do my things. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Not only for me, for most of the people, probably. I'm just complaining from that. So maybe we will enjoy some slowdown, and maybe this is not really so bad. Yeah, a little bit financially, of course, we're still very near this Jupiter-Saturn uh, square, which just happened. So when you make financial decisions, make sure that you're careful. Um, intuitive. So this is the thing. Eclipse, once again, will trigger again the refugees. This can trigger floods like water, unfortunately.
I see. Mm.
And this is in the day of the eclipse. Mars is squaring the eclipse. Not by exact square, but it is a square, even though it's not by degree. So this can be natural disasters, and
And
floods.
Neptune is there as well.
Neptune even more. Yeah, even Neptune is in Pisces indeed. Oh, he's also retrograde. I forgot. They're all retrograde now. So too much of retrograde motion. So with these eclipses, I will mention this when I look at the 12 uh, ascendants. So we will be looking at these main things. See, we learned one very important thing just before we start with the ascendant, just to say the disease situation in the world taught us we are very strong now. We are not anxious easily. People are not afraid easily now, because this card has been used on the human beings, so we don't care anymore. Monkey things, monkey disease. I mean, I'm only laughing. What? This is the biggest joke.
Oh, no. West Nile virus, even in Bulgaria now we have dead cases from mosquito bites, and well,
Yeah.
they will need to spray down something much more potent. Please God, don't. But
No, I mean, it's already, but
but
indeed,
Pisces is diseases.
Pisces is diseases, and let's not forget Mars became visible in Pisces. Pisces is diseases, but diseases, and me and you will learn this so well when we use the healing, of the frequencies. We learn this so well when your frequencies are low, the diseases and the viruses can attack you. When not, when you vibrate high on the vibration of love, which was very high, like 200 and something hertz, I forgot already the hertz, but high, then they can spray cats and dogs from the sky, and nothing can really harm you, right?
Cats and
Because
dogs.
you will be vibrate, yeah, or
I think a
snakes and
cat or a dog can really harm you if it falls on your kid from the sky. But that
yes,
thing that actually having a pet, surrounding yourself with something that keeps your vibration high can protect you in those more, the spicy and danger of the eclipse.
very.
Or just anything that, as you said, this vibration of love, which also Pisces, Venus exalts in Pisces, where the eclipse is. So it's much more easier to attune to this high vibration of love. Uh,
Very,
while
very, and compassion and really love, divine love. This is also what I would remind the holy trio. Welcome Venus as a morning star to experience the divine love. Welcome Sirius now. Sirius is very visible. I'm welcoming Sirius now almost every morning. You could see Sirius around 5:30 already. Welcome Sirius to experience the divine wisdom, and welcome the Sun to experience the divine life. And this is the holy trio. It's a must. And then you keep high vibrations, and even if they spray dinosaurs from the sky, nothing can nothing can even it will not even come nearby. What I forgot to mention, when Uranus is, because he entered mid-June, he entered Sidereal Taurus, and now when he turns retrograde, the low vibration would be to afflict Taurus. And what is Taurus? Taurus is the cows. They can try to come up with diseases on cows to destroy people's farming. Also, you know what came to my mind? In our culture, Wada, we forget this every time, and I didn't mention it. It came back to my mind. We call the Pleiades the seven hens, right? In our culture, these are the seven hens. People,
oh,
the old
I
people,
really
just
didn't know. I didn't know that. Yeah.
yes, the seven hands. And Uranus now is in the Pleiades, and he's turning retro in the Pleiades. This reminded me that they can play the card with chicken disease because the seven hands.
The bird flu. Now,
Birds.
this is something I feel very strongly.
This is
This
I'm
is
very unhappy because I have chickens, Wada.
You eat a
So
lot
they
of.
shouldn't come nearby my chickens because I love them. They all have names. So this was a joke, but it's a serious threat, and this is the low vibration of the planet, which if we all vibrate high, this is big responsibility. None of this will happen. This is the thing.
And again, if anyone would like a reading with Krasi, I'm putting in the description below. She has a discounted reading for the next 12 months with focus on eclipses, but other things as well at your chart if you're interested.
Yes, we'll talk about many things, eclipses, future events, anything. Now, maybe we start with the 12 ascendants.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start with people who have sidereal ascendant Aries or moon in Aries, or if you're following tropical astrology, this is Taurus. So for people who have ascendant Aries, let's see what is happening. First of all, the eclipses. The eclipses for you take place on the axis of 12 sixth houses, and all eclipses of this year take place on this axis. This axis for you becomes like a portal a little bit for change. Not necessarily bad. It is just a change. Could be related to your esoteric interests. empathy, knowledge on health. But of course, you may need to be a little bit more responsible for your health. Also, to try to be more, because this is also involving the sixth house, which is the house of eventually of conflicts. You may need to be more diplomatic with people that share your routine and environment. Now Uranus is turning retrograde in your second house. Maybe this is a time to revisit financial matters, to be a little bit careful, because this particular situation can cause delay in financial matters, but maybe for good, because maybe you will revisit the administrative part of this so that you don't have losses, let's say. Also be careful with family roots, family members, be diplomatic with them, be careful. Maybe this particular placement of Uranus and his phase will help you to improve relationship after some disharmony which may take place. Also, yes, I mentioned about the financial stuff also because Saturn is retrograde in your 11th house. This is basically a slowdown related to finances, to plans. Um, so maybe this would be useful for you. And now we can look at people who have sidereal ascendant Taurus or moon in Taurus, or if you're following modern tropical astrology, this is Gemini. For you, Jupiter is on your ascendant, Uranus is on your ascendant, and now he's turning retrograde. And Saturn retrograde is squaring Uranus. Now the square between them is quite evident. The fact that Uranus is changing motion on your ascendant and he is already causing change in your life would say that he may eventually slow down your projects, your plans, your ideas. Maybe this is not so bad. Maybe this is will cause you to reanalyze, revisit some matters that you're involved in. Also, uh, be careful a little bit career-wise. Make sure that you're very diplomatic because also Saturn there is retrograde. Now the eclipses for you are taking place on axis of 11th and 5th houses, and this can involve changes related to friendships, projects, but also gains, money. So in these areas like your personal plans, your your career, make sure that you're careful also with your partner, partnerships in general, but with your partner, in order to keep harmonious relationship, you may need to be really diplomatic. Like that the times will be a little bit testing your relationship, so be a little bit diplomatic. Now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Gemini or moon in Gemini, or if you're following modern tropical astrology, this is Cancer. For you, now the eclipses are involving the axis of your career, of your home. Be a little bit attentive with parents. Career-wise, make sure that you're very harmonious with your wishes, with your plans, because of Rahu in the 10th house, and because this axis will be eclipsed, and this becomes portal for change. So make sure that you're very careful with your ideas, plans, projects related to career. When it comes to travel, maybe this time period now, with Saturn retrograde, squaring Jupiter in the 12th house, is not very, very harmonious. Also, the retrograde motion of Uranus in your 12th house, Taurus, would say to be responsible, careful with your health. Could be that you may have reoccurrence of chronic situation. Don't worry, because Jupiter is there. You will be able to fix this most probably, but make sure that you're responsible for your health. So this is important. Then we look at people who have sidereal ascendant. And by the way, I forgot to say to people who have Gemini ascendant, also be harmonious and diplomatic with your partner because of Mars on your ascendant. And, and yeah, be diplomatic, be loving, be harmonious. Now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Cancer or moon in Cancer. If you're following modern tropical astrology, this is Leo. Now for you, the eclipse is taking place on the axis of your ninth and third houses. And this axis is important for your communication, for study, for travel, especially, now from mid September to end of even, this is a portal which is starting on 17th September and it's evolving 2nd of October. So 15 days before, 15 days after, especially on the day of the eclipse. Be careful when you travel, when you make decisions involving study, education. Be a little bit more diplomatic, careful, apply your intuition when you make decisions. Now, Uranus is turning retrograde on your 11th house. Be attentive with children. Could be that your communication will be a little bit disturbed with your children, with friends. When you make financial decisions, also be a little bit more careful. Make sure that you're planning things very well. This is with, with the retrograde motion of Uranus, but still he's not creating this harmonious aspect to your ascendant, and this is fine. But still, especially with your connections, with your social circle, with people, um, and especially when this is involving financial decisions, financial negotiations, make sure that you are applying your intuition and you are very careful. And now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Leo or moon in Leo, or if you're following modern tropical astrology, this is Virgo. For you, the eclipse is taking place on the axis of second, eighth houses. This axis is axis of finances, also finances of your partner. Maybe this is a portal which will change the situation around money from unexpected sources. Maybe if there is a blockage, it will take some direction after the eclipses. In any case, Saturn retrograde on your seventh house, a squaring Uranus in the 10th. Be careful with agreements, with contracts. Make sure that you take your time to think, to revisit paperwork. Make sure that you're careful and patient with your partner also. Also, in terms of career, you may have a little bit slow down in projects, in plannings, a little bit. So make sure that you're very, um, diplomatic, intuitive, and so. And then we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Virgo or moon in Virgo. If you're following modern tropical astrology, this is Libra. The eclipse is involving your ascendant and descendant. This could impact a little bit your relationship. Make sure that you're very intuitive, harmonious, careful there. Also, all agreements, contracts. Also, your personal choices, your personal plans could be that you are changing a little bit. Make sure that you are also, because Mars is in the 10th, that you're careful in your career place, that there is no disharmony there. Be diplomatic. Uranus is turning retrograde in the 9th house. He can slow down communication, plans for travel, for study. Make sure that you that you apply your intuition, objective mind when you're making decisions. And now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Libra or moon in Libra. If you're following modern tropical astrology, this is Scorpio. Now for you, actually on the 19th of September, Venus becomes on your ascendant, and this is very good. She will be trained by Mars. For you, this is good. It's a very good drive, actually, for you to, yes, to feel well. You see, the whole month of September, this will be the case. The eclipses are taking place on the axis of your 12th and 6th houses. Be careful for disharmony in your routine, career environment. Be careful for a little bit of health disharmony. Also, when Uranus is becoming retrograde on the 8th house, you may have slowed down related to finances via partnership or finances from your partner. A little bit there, you may have slowed down, but in general, Venus will be very helpful for you on your ascendant. And now let's look at people who have sidereal ascendant Scorpio or moon in Scorpio. If you're following the modern tropical astrology, this is Sagittarius. For you, The eclipses are taking place on the axis of 11th and 5th houses for you. Be a little bit more attentive with children. This is a portal for change related to your social contact, social circle, your friendships, gains. So there you may experience some change indeed. The Uranus is becoming retrograde on your seventh house. Eventually, some revisiting, slow down in agreements, in contracts, and make sure that you are, in harmony, patient in your romantic with your romantic partner. Also, with when there are agreements, contracts, there you may have small delay, court cases as well, and of course, because of Saturn in the fourth. You make sure you're careful, attentive with parents. And now we look at people who have Sidereal ascendant Sagittarius or Moon in Sagittarius. If you're following the modern tropical astrology, this is Capricorn. Now, for you, the um, the eclipse is taking place on the axis of your career and home. There you may experience some movement and change, especially after the eclipses, but you already experienced two eclipses on this axis, so you already know what I mean. In the meantime, Venus will be after the mid of September, will be on your 11th house, and she will be actually good for your children, for social circle, for your connections, even financially. She can bring you luck. Now the retrograde motion of Uranus is happening on your sixth house. Slow down in the routine, in administration, health wise, make sure that you're responsible for your health a little bit. And also, when you travel, make sure that you're planning very well your travel. And now we look at people who have Sidereal ascendant Capricorn on Moon in Capricorn. If you're following modern tropical astrology, this is Aquarius. Now, for you, the eclipses are taking place on the axis of your ninth, third houses. Because of Ketu in the ninth, eventually you may experience a little bit of change, slow down in studies, in communication, in travel plans. Uranus is turning retrograde on your fifth house. So, house of the good fortune, also finances, also he may make you revisit knowledge, old studies for good, or revisit talented work which you did before but you forgot about, for example. Be a little bit attentive with children. Uranus can make you revisit financial plans or cause a little bit of financial delay. But this is one of the things. A Venus on your 10th house after second part of September will help your career, and this is fine. And now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant, Aquarius or Moon in Aquarius. If you're following modern tropical astrology, this is Pisces. For you, the eclipse axis is taking over second and eighth houses. Changes related to finances, this can cause after the eclipses are over a little bit of change in direction when it comes to finances from unexpected sources, partnerships, or insurances, inheritances, and whatnot. There you may need to be patient to see where the eclipses will be bringing you. Uranus is becoming retrograde on your fourth house. A little bit slow down in matters like property, real estate. Make sure that you're attentive, careful with parents. If you're planning relocation, you may have a little bit of slowdown. So make sure that you're planning your things very, very well, very, very properly. Saturn is already for quite some time on your ascendant. So certainly he's teaching you now a little bit more structured discipline. Make sure that you're also diplomatic and careful with your partner. So, and now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Pisces or Moon in Pisces. If you're following modern tropical astrology, this is Aries. For you, this is the axis of eclipse. Certainly, the eclipse can change the direction you're taking, the plans that you're making, relationship with others. So be a little bit careful in your partnership, or this eclipse can also bring new people in your life, very possibly. Uranus is becoming retrograde on your third house, which is about travel, communication, studies, relationship with brothers and sisters, and there you may have slowed down. So if you're planning new business, if you're planning to travel, make sure that you are planning things well, applying your intuition, carefully. Mars on the fourth, be a little bit careful also in your career, um, how you communicate simply, how you yes, this is the thing. So basically, this is it. With finishing with Pisces, Wada.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Krasi, for your time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us as well. Again, if you'd like
Thank
to
you, everyone.
contact Krasi, in the description below, I've put a link to her services. And may you all have a blessed September.